What's going on, Cancer? I salute the divinity in you, and welcome to the Chariot Friends. Justin here, and it's eclipse time. We're having our last eclipse of the year, and I feel like this is going to be a really powerful one. This is going to be one where don't be afraid to dream big with this one, to take your ideas and really put them into being. I feel like there's gold on the other side of this eclipse energy here. And we'll definitely talk more of this. I got a whole chart for you. It's going to be wild and in the best possible way. But before we get into that, if you're new to this channel, welcome. My name is Justin, and know that when you come across this video, you're in sync with the moon, and she loves that. But this is also a place for you if you happen to have Cancer in your placement. Sun, moon, rising, Venus, wherever. This one's for you. And I do tarot card spreads based of our ruler here, the good old moon. And I'll talk about what sign she's in, what phase she's in, when she's going into an eclipse, when all those just lunar shenanigans. And just so you're all aware, this is a general reading, not a one-to-one. So take what fits into your story, discard the rest, and everything will be dope, Cancer. Now, I'm looking at the eclipse right now. Let's jump into it. But yes, Cancer, I hope you're feeling great. Hope you're feeling energized, because especially today, because depending on when you're watching this, happy Mars Day. And I'm actually going to get shuffling your cards while I'm doing this. Mars is associated with Tuesdays, and this is a great day for getting active, for getting energized, for even pursuing some passions. I like to utilize Mars days as one of my designated workout days. I always find that there is a lot of energy that I happen to have when I am working out during the Mars days thing spirit. And I have Mars in the first house, so there's that as well. But even when it's not a Mars day, I like to schedule like any sort of movement, whether I'm doing yoga or I'm doing a workout. Excuse me. I try to do them I schedule as close as I can during like the Mars hour, just to have that little extra oomph. So play around with these energies, see how that works for you. But something that I like to do as well, and this is just more kind of a personal thing, when we're getting into those days, thinking about your relationship with your Mars placement. What house does it fall in? Does it fall in a strong house like the first house, like an angular house, or maybe the 11th, the 9th house? Is it falling maybe more in kind of in more of an unfavorable house? Is it in a strong? Do you have Mars and Aries? I should know quite a few people with Mars and Aries, interestingly enough, and a few people with Mars and Scorpio, or is Mars in Cancer, which I happen to know a couple people as well. So it's like understanding where your Mars placement, how that, and it helps you understand how your drive, your passion, that energy that you have. So Mars is very important in our chart. And even too, comparing Mars, if you have like a day or a night chart, Mars could either be working really great for you, or he could present some maybe a little difficulties there. You got to work a little more intentionally with them. I know when I'm going through like different Mars transit, actually my progressed moon was just conjunct my natal Mars not too long ago, and there had been a lot of, I've been feeling like the one lately, but we're being constructive about it. It's a lot of breathing, a lot of saluting divinities and loving lights, and it works. So, and just moving the body. That's one thing that I've really had to, is when I'm in a Mars transit, like to really make sure that I'm staying up on my workout routines and just moving my body regularly. I'm even thinking about making sure to get back on my walking routine a little bit more. So those are just to be some things to think about with that. Now let's get into the lunar shenanigans. Mars is hogging all the energy. Now on the 1st of October, already in October, the moon is going to enter into Libra at about 3:20 p.m., and that's going to be Pacific time. Now, when we're talking about the moon in Libra, Libra is ruled by Venus. Then Venus is how we attract. Venus is magnetic. It's how we express beauty, how we appreciate beauty. And being Libra is cardinal in nature. That means they're the initiator of the air energy, of thought, communication. And Libra, too, is a masculine energy. So there's this active thing that goes out with that when we're speaking, when we're putting ideas out there, when we're creating and stuff. And so I feel the moon in Libra can invite us to see what are some things that you have been attracting with your words, or where have your thought process been. This can be a really great time, I find, when the moon is in air signs, to maybe do some journaling, but especially with Libra, maybe doing some sort of like creative endeavors. Maybe you're doing some coloring, bust out some crayons or some color pencils, get like like, I have an adult coloring book, and when I mean by adult, I mean like just a coloring book for adults. Get your mind out of the gutter. but even but just seeing where your mind is at, paying attention to what music that you've been listening to, I feel like is another thing that you can work with, Libra. Maybe even seeing some of the materials that you've been reading, possibly from books to different newspapers to different articles on the web, paying attention to maybe how people are talking amongst each other. What are some energies that are being projected at you, and are they influencing your thoughts? That would be another thing I would pay attention to with Libra, because with that magnetism that Venus has, and being that they rule Libra, I like to think of Libra as a very strong sign for that kind of law of attraction type of energy, that you put it out there and they're just like, everything's like a magnet. So just kind of pay attention to that as well. Can be really great. And doing those sort of like activities and things can really kind of help you see what's going on internally, and understanding what are some things maybe that you're needing to move through, maybe that we're needing to change up how we've been initiating, and how have you been coming off a little more emotional, a little more hot, because considering too, Venus is in her sign of detriment right now in Scorpio. So where that doesn't mean that you're just going to attract negative things. It's just paying attention to when you are getting stuck in maybe like depression, anger, irritation, fear, whatever that's looking like, and see if we can try to substitute that with more kind of lovely things when we're talking about with Libra and all this Libra energy that we're in. So, and actually while I'm talking about that, I have a chart for you here. So we're going to go ahead and switch back over, because we had a whole Libra stellium here, a whole party, slumber party here. Because now, first off, on the 2nd of October, we're going to have that annular solar eclipse. And that's going to happen at 11:44 a.m. And again, that's Pacific time. And the annular solar eclipse is similar to a total eclipse, but the moon is too far away from the earth for the apex of the shadow to reach the earth's surface. Thus, the moon is not entirely hiding the sun. There's this like narrow ring of light that will surround that kind of dark new moon energy. And I've heard it referred to it as even like the ring of fire in a sense. So when we're talking about eclipse energy, this is usually a pretty dynamic energy. It can bring about there are changes that are happening here when we're talking about this eclipse. And usually the solar eclipses happen when it's happening during a new moon phase. Or new moon lunation. And so think about how the new moon is a seeding process, but now there's just this extra packed of energy here. And like I was saying, when I'm visualizing this, I'm thinking of how you're getting this like maybe inspiration, these certain ideas. I feel like there's gold that can happen in whatever house this is falling for you. This could be one where you can really set some very powerful intentions and really improve that area in your life in a really big way. You really might see some really drastic changes with this, maybe even a lot sooner than you realize with this energy. So that's why I would say definitely pay attention to your thoughts, how you're communicating here, because let's get into this chart. Now, the sun and the new moon phase is going to happen at 11:49 a.m., just about 5 minutes after the eclipse. And that's when specifically the sun and the moon, who's kind of sandwiched in between the South Node and Mercury here, are on the same degree. And this is happening at 10 degrees and 3 minutes of Libra. So if you have any planets or points around that place, especially around the cardinal signs, so we're talking Cancer, Capricorn, or Aries, this is going to work with you a lot more personally. You may feel a lot more movement that's needed to happen, I'd say, with Cancer and Capricorn. And then with the Libra in Aries, we're needing to, what's a new beginning for Libra, and where are we moving? We can kind of like a reevaluating period, I feel, for the Aries point. So again, just kind of look at this if you happen to have, if any of that resonates with you. But the interesting thing I feel about this, and why I say we want to really be, I feel like getting very intentional during this specific lunation, because Mercury is just within a degree of a little over a degree of this conjunction that's happening. And Mercury is how we communicate, how we think, how we learn. And with the South Node, because that's when the eclipses happen, when they're happening, it's when they're close, within a certain amount of degrees determines what type of eclipse that is going to be between the South Node or the North Node. And considering that this happened to the South Node, this is looking at the places that you've been. The South Node is not necessary. I don't like to think of the South Node as a bad thing. You need that foundation, that past foundation, in order for you to go to the future. So you have something, a point of reference. But I feel like this is looking at where we may have been staying in a comfort zone and where something is needing to change. So if this is, for example, this is falling in my third house. So I'm going to be looking at third house themes, communications, short travels, divinations, more specifically dreams space in that point too. But did I say siblings, and seeing where some things maybe are community, where some things, and this would apply for, I would be telling this to all Leo risings. And of course, it's going to be more nuanced depending on what's going on in the chart, of course. But those are going to be some areas where I'm looking at where some things that are needing to be changed and where we're ready to kind of grow on some things. Now, another thing I feel to kind of pay attention to as well, when you're looking at this thing and looking at these areas, because maybe this is happening in your fourth house, maybe there's something around the home space that you're wanting to change. Maybe this is happening in the ninth house. Maybe you're wanting to go learn new, go see different landscapes. Maybe you've been putting off this vacation or whatever that this happens to be. I feel that with let me get my thoughts together. With this whole Libra party here, Venus, like I was saying, is a dispositor of this moon, or excuse me, of this whole eclipse lunation thing. And with Venus being in her detriment of Scorpio, there may be some changes that you're feeling really intensely about, or maybe that you have some strong feelings about that maybe you're not quite ready to let go. But I'd say kind of sit with that, and it's just like, why is this thing holding on? Why are we holding on to this thing so much? Maybe this is falling in your first house, and maybe there's something, maybe you've been wanting to change your diet, or maybe you've been wanting to, whatever this may be, examining why we have such strong feelings about this and why we're afraid of going into new territory, because change is going to happen regardless. Because this whole thing is opposing this North Node by whole sign, and so there may be some resistance where, as far as like moving into this new thing, but once you make these steps, then maybe you'll see that this attachment maybe was just more mental. Maybe you thought that, oh, well, I initiated things, so I had to see this through for whatever reason. But now it's like that chapter has closed. You've learned all you can from this, and it's time for some new growth that's needing to happen here. So this is a very powerful lunation that's going on here, and I feel like this is one that can bring you out of things that have been putting you in your detriment. Because, like I was saying, Venus in Scorpio, where I feel she's in detriment in Scorpio just because, if you're feeling things like fear, depression, anxiety, things along those lines, then Venus will attract that a lot stronger, and she'll fixate on that. But Venus can also, you're doing this correction, you can bring in, there are more emotions than that. You can experience happiness, joy, fulfillment, things along those lines, and bring in more of that type of stuff there. But it's just going to take a little bit more work for us. We're all going through, this is all going to be a certain type of thing that we're all working through, but it is something that can be done. So that's just something I feel like to think about this. And again, if you need to set like a vision board during this, I feel that'd be great, considering Mercury's falling very close to this, really training the mind to get to the place that you're needing to go. And yeah, but one more thing that I wanted to talk about this before we get into the tarot. Well, two more things. I'm going to talk about this and then the void, of course. I wanted to talk about the Sabian symbol that this new moon is falling on. And this is happening at it's phase 191 of Libra. And the imagery for this is a professor peering over his glasses at his students. And the keynote for this is problems attending the transmission of knowledge in a special cultural setup. And what I feel like this is happening is when we're going through the growing experience. How do I want to put this? This I found was a very interesting Sabian symbol. This to me is seeing. It's like finding certain things. Let's say for example, I feel like an easy example would be if you're trying to work on a new workout routine, for example, you're wanting to get more in shape. It's if you're having problems or troubles implementing let's say certain things, maybe you think that you have to go to the gym and work out like 5 days a week, or maybe you feel like you have to have like a certain diet where you have to cut out carbs, where you have to do this, where you have to do that. I feel that this professor is looking over his glasses. It's like kind of peering over and like kind of seeing his students as humans, that what may have worked for me may not work for you, and it's keeping that in mind. Like, it's not like, well, you promise. How do I want to put this? It's like if you're feeling like you've been shorted or like that you've been cheated by something. It's like, oh, this workout plan isn't working. What's wrong with them, or what's wrong with me? I feel like it's not. There's nothing that's wrong with you. It's just that may have worked for this person, but it may not work for you. And that's not to be discouraging. It's meant for you to like, okay, well, let's try something different. I work out, do active workouts, like maybe 3 times a week. And I used to work out like every day. I would do something like Monday through Friday and just like run, do this, do that, do the third. And that just wasn't, it just after a while, it was just burning my body out. And now I find with I do like 3 workouts, and then in between I do yoga day. I break them up with like a day of yoga. And I feel more comfortable in my body now than I did then. And I've been working with this, and I'm actually coming up on like 10 years of working with this fitness blender. That workout routine and how they set up things is perfect for what I do. But my partner likes going to the gym. That routine works out for him, and he's tried fitness blender, and sometimes it works for him, but other times it's not my jam. And so I feel like I feel like it's not forcing something to work for you, but also I feel like you may have some new ideas, you may have some things that have been working for you and that you're trying to teach this to others, and not like forcing this on other people. That realizing that if someone is maybe if you're like teaching someone, for example, you're giving like lectures or you're creating courses or whatnots, and maybe you're noticing that every now and again you're like, oh, that doesn't resonate with me, or he doesn't do that. It's not an attack on you. It's just that everyone's different. We're all going through this human experience together, and we're all going to take different things from it and grow in different types of ways. And even if something doesn't work out for you, that is growth in itself too, because now you know a lot. You've gotten more impact or more input about yourself. Like, oh, okay, this doesn't work. Okay, so I have to try something different. I can remove a lot of things and focus on a more specific type of area that I'm looking for. So take that if that resonates. But last little thing that I want to talk about is the void of course. Now this is going to happen on Jupiter Day, the 3rd of October, and it's going to go from 10:40 a.m. and then it'll go on until Venus Day, the 4th of October, until about 4:22 a.m. So we're looking at about a 17-hour, 42-minute void of course. And the aspect that the moon forms with the last celestial body flavors that void of course. And keep in mind, I'm working with the traditional planets when I'm doing this void of course time. And she's forming a trine with Jupiter, Big Papa. And Jupiter is about that energy. The nature of Jupiter is to affirm and to expand, to bring about this wisdom and growth. And the trine is Jupiterian in nature. It's when the planets are 120 degrees apart, so they're like elements. Jupiter's in Gemini, the moon would still be in Libra. And so during this void of course period, I like to think of the void of course one thing as reflecting on what happened during this period of time while the moon was in Libra. What are some feelings that may have came up for you, some situations that maybe got you thinking in certain type of ways that maybe kind of like, maybe that are challenging you for new growth or like trying something completely different. But this is not really a time to start up anything. This is really a time to just kind of rest, to kind of wrap up some stuff here, make your peace with whatever's going on. This could be a great time for just like cleaning up your space, even whatever that may be looking like, getting caught up on some bills. Maybe you have been skipping a few workout days, get back on your workout routine, whatever that may be looking like. But during that period of time, yeah, I would just say let this be an opportunity for you to think about this, it's more specifically this area where this is happening in your chart and where you're ready to grow from this. What are maybe some ideas that are coming up for you? Because we have a couple of, I'm actually just sort of like kind of glancing at these next few signs that the moon's going to be in. There's going to be a lot of movement. Got a trine and another sextile coming up here. So there's these first couple are going to be a lot, I feel like, kind of coming in for us collectively. So utilize that to your advantage and see where you're ready to, just ready to grow. Now let me go and make a little bit of an adjustment here. We'll switch over here. Now last little bit, let me resolve a little bit. These readings that I do, they're not gender-specific readings, so apply these energies to people as they make sense for your situations. And before we get into this, I'd like to ring a little bell just to bring in some good vibes to kind of welcome in this new lunation. So adjust your volume if you need to, but I'm going to ring this a few times and then we'll get into it. All right. All right, let's see what your general energy is looking like. Ooh, I'm with it. All right, so you have the Dove Spirit here. That's interesting. This is the 21st card here, which I'm thinking in the majors, that is World energy. It's a world card energy. So things are coming to a close. And this Dove Spirit is about be peace. And I would say with this energy, you know, when you, because, you know, of course, I'm watching different astrologers and different tarot readers as well. And, you know, a lot of the times when we have like eclipses and things like that, where they are big energies, I feel like don't let it be something that disrupts your peace, that messes, you know, that kind of messes with your vibration. I feel this is always a time to just tune into what is true for me right now and then be at peace with that. What are some things that, and I feel with that, even with that, since I was getting that world energy, I'm getting like this, what are some things that you need to do in order to be at peace? What are some things that you may be ready to be, that you're ready to bring to a close, that maybe even, I even feel with this Dove Spirit, it's just like, it's like almost like you taking a bird's eye view of your life or of what's been going on around you, and where are some areas that are needing to, that could, where you're seeing maybe a bit of tumultuous energy coming up. And where you're ready, where it's needing just something to soothe that. You know, I'd like to think with like Mercury being in Libra right now, this is a time for beautiful thoughts and kind of speaking some peace and things into your world here. Something to maybe help assuage those intense emotions that may be coming up while Venus is in, because both Venus and Mars are in very tough places in the chart right now. Venus being in Scorpio, Mars being in Cancer. So there is a lot of emotional energy that is going on right now. And we want to be mindful about the things that we're bringing up. But let me get some tarot on this with this Dove Spirit and get some details with this. Oh, that's how we started off, a little sun energy coming through. hold on. Let's see what's going on here. Thanks, Spirit. Oh, and some change. Oh, and Venus in Scorpio. Let me tell you what's going on. So you have the Two of Disc, the Sun card here, the Princess of Disc, and the Seven of Discs, or excuse me, the Seven of Cups here, which is that Venus and Scorpio energy. And you see here, the Seven of Cups is a card, down here is the debauch card. And I feel like this is looking at areas that have not been bringing you peace. Maybe something that brought you peace once upon a time, but now it's time to see it, like I said, from a bird's eye view. It's time to see. It's one thing when you're in it, you have one perspective, but when you see how you're acting but it's like when you're observing how you're acting, is there something that's needing to change? Maybe you know what, this isn't flowing anymore. Maybe you used to be able to just like eat a bunch of pizza and just a bunch of sugary things and things like that. And you can burn them off real easy. But now it's like, now things aren't quite working as well. Things are getting a bit stuck. Things are starting to get a little, because I mean, this is a very swampy card. And this is my prelude in this deck. This is like a prelude to a devil moment here. And so I feel this sun energy is bringing that peace, is bringing some purity, some light, some new perspectives. And this Queen of Disc, I really love this one. She's my card of fecundity in this deck. She's got this. She's pregnant with all this life, this new opportunity that's coming in. Talk about someone working with the new moon energy. There's this barren forest behind her, and she's pouring her energy through this scepter to saturate the land with the sun in order to bring some new growth, to clear the drains, to clear anything that's clogged up, and just get into a new state of flow here. We're getting in this place where I feel manifestation is getting more potent, is getting more, as we're elevating, we're developing more powers. But with great power comes great responsibility. You can take a little quote from Spider-Man. But I even feel with this Princess of Disc is seeing what are some things that have been just kind of, it's like that have been maybe tainted. It's like the soil has maybe been polluted in some kind of way. It is just needing this fresh blast of just sunlight here, of energy. Maybe you've been feeling in a rut for a while, and so maybe you're maybe just doing some kind of creative things I feel like this doesn't have to be just like massive steps. It can be just like little things at first. A tree doesn't just you just explode with growth overnight. It takes time. You have to water it. It needs to get some sun. It's just like taking in the energies. And so yeah, it's like we're seeing something clearly here. And I even feel I'm getting like a visualization energy too. Like if maybe you've been feeling like really tired or something along those lines, you haven't been getting enough rest like you could. Imagine what that would feel like if you made more time to get more sleep. And then it's like as you're picturing that, then you'll get the signals of what's needing to change as far as like what is like maybe you need to cut down some screen time before you're going to bed, or maybe it's something that you're eating that's giving you maybe spicy foods tend to do something with you and it keeps you up, or maybe there's even like a conversation. I'm even thinking that I'm kind of getting with the Seven of Cups. Maybe it's just like there's certain things that we're having troubles letting go, and maybe like writing some of this stuff out so you can get these things outside of you. But let me get some more on this. Okay. Thank you, Spirit. Let's see what else we got here. Interesting. I'm with it. So you have the Three of Cups, the Two of Cups, the Fool card, which is Uranus energy, the Prince of Wands, and the Lust card, which is the Strength card. That's Leo energy. And so with this lust card, this figure here, she's creating a new universe. And I feel that this lust is not necessarily seeing. Oh, you got the Four of Discs here as well. But I feel like this is not necessarily lusting after something. It's like I was talking with Mars. It's like it's a need to bring about a new passion, something that is reinvigorating you a little bit, creating a new foundation with this Four of Disc here, being in this, establishing a new sense of power, in a sense, pouring a lot of love, a lot of peace, a lot of abundance that we're speaking with this Two of Cups, this Three of Cups, a need to connect with yourself and paying attention to maybe how are others even receiving this love that you're giving yourself. The Prince of Wands in this deck, he's the only prince that has his eyes wide open. He really sees clearly where he's wanting to go, where the energies, where this new beginning is taking them. And that's interesting how you would have this Fool card to this is not the world, but I feel like even when I'm talking about that world energy, it's like it's creating the world that you're wanting. It's taking that leap towards this new beginning, that there can be this change, and it can be something that is very empowering here. You can maybe making more time for the things that you love, the things that you're wanting to do. And maybe I'm getting even a message of maybe you've been worried about doing you've been maybe keeping the peace, and instead of doing things that bring you peace, that allow you to be and embody this peace, be the personification of peace even. And so this to me is a very powerful start here. You're working with some very fertile, especially fertile ground here with this eclipse energy. And know that this is be peace, in the sense that this doesn't have to be where if you've been feeling that life has been just happening to you, when you start setting those intentions, life starts happening for you. Yes, there are still some things that may try to get in that way of that, but just keep in mind, I'm even thinking like maybe just like if we're talking with this Three of Cups, maybe there are other people throwing their emotions around, their limitations and things. But it's just like, how do you maintain that peace, that state of abundance, even in that in their chaos? And I feel like it's knowing too, like how that professor peering over his glasses at his students, I don't feel like he's looking necessarily with judgment. He's just looking at a reminder that we're all going through this human experience together, and that's going to look differently for everyone. Let's get a little advice from Venus. Last little bit here. So you have the Ace of Swords and the Knight of Disc here. And let's go ahead and switch back over. So there's that Mercury in Libra. You got this idea here, because it's a lot of air energy. And when we have, I feel like when we have like this preponderance of air that's going on, your thoughts are important. They're gonna make or break you with this. But this can be where if they've been breaking you, this ace is an invitation for you to reestablish a new foundation, to get grounded in a new idea. Because the Knight of Discs, this is the kings in this deck. His horse is a part of the ground. He's very rooted in all of his abundance. There's this golden hay that's around. His shield is beaming because he's in his energy. His thoughts are clear, and he's at peace. He is peace. I'm even getting this just like you heralding this new age for those around you, your community in a sense, with this Three of Cups here. But I feel it starts with just bringing more love into your world. You know, doing more of the things that you want to do, doing some of the things that you were meant to even do. That's, I mean, even, yeah, something even bigger than that. Like the things you were meant to do, the just things that you know in your soul. And that might even be something too. Some ideas, maybe this Ace of Swords. You know, with it happening in, you know, this eclipse happening and this new moon happening by the South Node, I feel like even looking at some things that you may have put aside, that you may have just like, that you used to find, that used to bring you joy, and yeah, maybe even exploring those areas again and seeing how that could potentially, yeah, just kind of bring you some peace as well. All right, but that's all I got for you there. So if you like that, if anything resonated with you, give it a thumbs up. And share this if you know someone who would benefit from this, who could maybe find some nuggets of wisdom in here. And then subscribe there, you son. Hit that bell button to get notified on all these videos each day. And then last little bit, if you're wanting to get an update as far as like what's going on weekly in the celestial bodies, I have down in the description box a little link for my other channel, Alchemist 8, where I do weekly videos talking about the cosmic chit chat. And I also do on there some videos that deal with different planetary placements and different signs and different houses. So that could be another thing if you happen. I have it all by playlist, and it's all, and I do it based off these dice. I just kind of roll the dice and see what comes on. Venus is actually here that I'm going to be doing next. So all that housekeeping is down in the description box below. But let me get your surprise card or cards here so I can get you out of here. Spirit. Oh, look at Venus. So you have the Sacred Feminine card here. And this is a card of creation, receptive, and nurture. And those are very Venusian qualities. And I feel that the Sacred Feminine is... I'm getting a couple things with this. Where I think that this is a time to really kind of nurture. So it's giving me that kind of Two of Cups, like to kind of nurture your ideas, be receptive to any sort of inspirations, ideas, downloads that comes through, but to not just be in that receptive place. To be... Libra is Venus's active place. This is where where in Taurus, she is receiving a lot more to build and nourish things. But Libra is where she's taking her ideas and she's talking. She's making her stuff manifest. She's making music. She's making art. She's writing stories. She's putting that sacred feminine energy to work. And that's what I feel this is getting this at. It's not just letting an idea be an idea, or even be like something that, oh, maybe hopefully I can do this one day, or I wish that I could do this. Well, if you wish it, then you spirits heard you, and you can get like, oh, I wish I could do this. And it's just like, okay, here's what you need to do in order to do that. You want to write a book? Let's think about a topic that you want to write. What are some things that inspire you? What's the characters looking like? What's the such and such? You know, you want a different job. Okay, what kind of job you want? What do you like to do? What skills do you have? What skills do you need to hone? What skills do you need to nurture? Be receptive to what comes in, and then Princess of Disc. This Princess of Disc is growing this stuff. You know, she's putting those energies in there. So, but I do feel like it's being open to those channels, but not just thinking that it seems so like just because it's in here, you know. I don't want to put this. If you would have told me that I would be doing what I'm doing, this all started off as an idea. someone had made, I started this, I did like I did a reading with someone, or they did a reading for me. It was interesting. But they had even put the idea where it's like, oh, I could definitely see you being a reader. I could absolutely, you'll probably be a reader in no time. And I took that idea and I'm like, I took a couple of ideas. I remember my spouse was telling me like, dude, you would do great on like a YouTube or something along those lines. Like, just do that. And then combining those ideas, I was like, well, you know what? Why not? Let's just give it a try. And it's a process every day. I'm learning, I'm nurturing this thing, and I'm growing through it. So that's what I feel is happening here. There's something to be aware of there. And I like how she has the lunar cycles. But that third eye is right there, and that full moon. So let's see this thing. And take that idea and bring it outside of yourself. So I'll leave that there. Keep raising that consciousness. Keep eyes on the moon. And I will catch you on the next one. Oh, how appropriate. Venus Day.